Officer's Log, Day 37. I'm pretty sure that we are the last two alive. If there's anyone out there.
Come on. No, let's not go that dark.
Although, I did just get notice from my office that
you're finally working from home?
I'm allowed to be home rather than a call center with 200 people.
Yes, thank goodness. My asthma thanks you.
So,
anyways,
I think we promised everyone an update from the Boondock Saints episode about watching the documentary.
Yeah, and I should say, guys, you should really thank us because this was not an easy movie to get.
No, it's available one place and one place only.
Yes, Fandango, right?
Yeah.
It is available on Amazon Prime, but when you try to watch it, it says it's not available on any devices that people own. So I don't really understand. Like a television? Yeah, I could get it on my phone, but that's it. Yeah. It's very strange. Anyway, so we did watch it.
We did.
And what were your thoughts? Did your opinions change at all from the podcast?
Yeah, I like him less as a person now. He's the shittiest of shitty people, and he's a terrible representation of Boston and Massachusetts and New England. Although he's from Hartford, Connecticut, which figures because Hartford's a dumpster town.
Right, so Connecticut, you can have him. Us Boston people do not want to claim him, so he's yours now.
Yep.
And also, he didn't just crap on people in Hollywood, which was the vibe I had gotten when I was researching, was that he was crapping on Hollywood people, which, by the way, not a good thing to do, but
don't bite the hand that feeds, but he's also just a dick to everyone.
Right, but I had thought, okay, some people are just jerks when it comes to, business and money and whatever, but no, he was a jerk to his brother, he was a jerk to his really good friends, he was just a straight jerk.
His band, his co-workers, any person, really.
Yeah, he was horrible. So, on the other side, though, it did give me hope. If somebody like him can get a, $1 million deal...
How hard can it be?
I mean, I should be up and coming.
You're not special. You are not the person whose shit don't stink, man. You're a terrible person, and... you're gonna die alone.
Yeah, so that book I got to write, and I gotta finish that up. Apparently, anybody can do it. It's what this documentary taught me.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. He's a drunk loser from Hartford that has nothing really of value to contribute to society.
Yes. So, anyways, as our update, I will say that I still enjoy the movie. I am separating him from the movie, but his affiliation does color it, but I'm happy to note that he is stupid and didn't read his contract, so he doesn't get much royalties from it anyways, so I don't feel like I'm contributing to him, you know what I'm saying?
Also, he's responsible for the worst sequel arguably ever.
I'm happy to report I've never seen
Boondock Saints 2 is probably one of the worst sequels in the history of cinema.
So anyway, I feel like we have well-roundedly given our opinions on Boondock Saints since, we have been kind of looked at funny that we liked the movie, so... we have rectified the situation. We now understand the full gravity of it. And so can we move on to this week's movie?
All right. Well, first off, I'm Tyler.
I'm Shay.
And this is Cinematically Correct. This week's movie was your choice.
Yes. So I did a audience recommend. Yep. Stork, who is one of our longtime friends and listeners and all of that, who does a Star Trek podcast.
Oh, you actually got that one right.
I've been repeating it in my head for a while, so I'm really proud of myself. I'm glad I got it. But he recommended The Huslter, which he recommended back when we did The Sting a while ago.
Yes.
To do another Paul Newman movie because I announced my love for Paul Newman's Blue Eyes.
Yes, I think he recommended this one specifically out of spite because it's a black and white movie.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that when we talk about the film. So, but yeah, I am harboring a little bit of hatred for that, but the blue eyes still pierce through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, before we get into the movie, do you want to do the beer?
I do want to do the beer. So this week we are under quarantine, so we didn't have very many choices.
Yeah, so Tyler picked his own because we can't go to the alcohol store together. So.
So this is side break or break side. Can't really tell. I think it's side break. Which is,
again, he picked it out himself, guys, and he cannot read his own can.
It also has a graphic of a person's face,
which he insists is Paul Newman.
Which I do insist is Paul Newman. Mm-hmm. So that's how it ties to the movie. It's a limited edition IPA, so I'm probably going to hate it.
So, again, he picked it for himself, and he's going to hate it. So I think he's starting to learn the difficulty of finding a movie beer.
All right, enough of that.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify.
That's actually not bad. I'll give it a 3.7.
Your face and your words are two different things.
I'll give it a 3.7.
Yeah, just because you picked it out.
So yeah, that's actually not bad. It's definitely got Paul Newman's eyes.
Can we not have the eyes staring at me this whole podcast? That's kind of creepy. Thank you. Okay, do you have a brief synopsis for this movie?
Brief synopsis.
Brief synopsis.
Paul Newman plays pool hustler, and he goes on a journey to beat the other best pool player in the country, Minnesota Fats. Loses, has to work on himself personally, which he doesn't really do. Comes back and beats Minnesota Fats, and that's basically the movie. There's also a love story that is thrown in there for real no discernible purpose other than because they thought they needed one. But that's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, so we need to do the characters because, that's what we do. So, Paul Newman plays Eddie Felson.
Eddie Felson.
Which, why are you repeating everything I say?
Just cause.
Okay. Anyway, Eddie Felson is a really good pool player whose mission basically is to beat the best pool player in the world or country, which is Minnesota Fats.
Right. So he's the pool shark, hustler, kind of grifter, taking money from people that don't know any better, and then goes on a quest to show how good he is, because that's more important to him than the money. It's the prestige and the recognition that he would get from beating.
Really, a guy's ego is more important to him than other things?
In fact, it is. Yeah.
Huh. I would have never known.
So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's Paul Newman. Guys, if you don't know who Paul Newman is, I don't know how to help you.
The most wonderful human being maybe ever.
Yeah. Now, I will say, before we watched this Sting, I had never seen a Paul Newman movie, but I mean, he does dressing, so I knew who he was. But he's gorgeous. He's wonderful. He's a philanthropist. I don't even know.
Not particularly likable in this movie.
No. So in this movie, he plays kind of a misogynistic, just self-centered prick.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. All of the male characters in this kind of are dicks.
Except Minnesota Fats. He's he's an agreeable guy. He plays, and he plays well, but he's fine. He's not a jerk. He's not
lording it over other people. He's not trying to... He does what he does, and he does it well, and...
Yeah, that's about it.
He knows who he is as a person.
Yeah. So, since we're talking about him, Jackie Gleason plays Minnesota Fats. You said that you knew Jackie Gleason beyond this movie.
I did. I can't think of a movie that I have seen him in off the top of my head. Let's take a look. Oh, he's in The Honeymooners. Of course, that's where I would recognize him from. The Sting 2. Which is ironic. So
I don't know him from anything, but he was great. I think he was one of, other than Paul Newman, obviously, he was probably my favorite
Grumpy
character.
Old Men. He was probably in that, I think.
I don't know, but you're going to get crucified for saying that since you did not see it on his IMDb. So go ahead, Twitter. Go for it.
So interesting story, though, between Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason. So Jackie Gleason is a very accomplished pool player, and they had a bet, and he wiped the floor with Paul Newman, and they bet $50, and Paul Newman paid him in pennies.
How many pennies?
$5,000 or $50 worth of pennies.
Nice.
Malicious compliance, which there was a couple scenes in this movie that we'll talk about later, that malicious compliance, but it's so petty.
It's something you would do.
Oh, it's 100% something I would do, yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I almost forgot, so before we move too far, Paul Newman is my Gilmore Girls connection.
Oh. Yeah. How is that?
In the episode 5, season 5, in We Got Us a Pippi Virgin, Rory, Dean, Luke, and Lorelai go see Cool Hand Luke, starring Paul Newman, at the Black, White, and Red Theater.
Oh.
Yes. Cool Hand Luke is a big theme in Gilmore Girls a lot because Luke is one of the main characters. So yeah.
All right. So next character is the female that was just thrown into this. She did fine, but
Piper Laurie.
Piper Laurie.
Her name is Sarah Packard, I believe. Because you said, does it have anything to do with Hewlett Packard?
No, that's Packard car. They showed up in the opening scene apparently.
Yes.
So she was in The Faculty with Elijah Wood. who is in Lord of the Rings. Done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're going to do that, huh? You're sticking to that.
Oh, yeah. I'm absolutely going to do that out of spite.
Oh, God, guys, find a movie that he cannot connect to Lord of the Rings. I beg of you.
Find a movie for the love of God she can't connect to Gilmore Girls, and I'll stop. Voluntarily, I will stop if we ever find a movie she can't connect.
Okay, game on. Anyway, Piper Laurie, she plays a...
rich, lush, that doesn't really do a whole lot for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's not anything great about her. She's not a likable character, but at the same time, she's treated horribly the whole movie. She has a rich dad, apparently.
Well, I think she's not a likable character, but she's treated horribly, which feeds into her spiral of misery. Like,
right.
She's a miserable person. Like, everything in her life that could bring her happiness doesn't go according to plan. Like,
right.
It's the man that she falls in love with is a degenerate, and she has a drinking problem, and just nothing goes well.
Right. So I do have a question about her, though, since we're on her as a topic. According to my research, she had a limp, and that is why she wrote crippled on the mirror at the end of the movie, which we're not going to spoil that part just yet, but did she have a limp, and why did she have a limp?
A slight limp. Although I don't know why it was added, and it didn't really add anything to the...
No, there was a part in my research where she was talking about having the limp, and at one point they were told it was too pronounced and she had to try to
she was told that she needed a limp for this movie, so she put rocks in her shoes,
yes.
or pebbles in her shoes,
yep.
to make her limp, and then they said, stop it, it needs to be subtle.
Less pronounced, yeah. But they never explained why she had a limp, did they?
No, they didn't explain that. They didn't explain why she was an alcoholic. They didn't explain anything.
And they didn't explain why her dad was feeding her money, but you never saw her ever, like, interact with her family?
Yeah.
I know she said something about, like, he left the family and that was his way of, like, helping or something like that, but, like...
He pays me to stay out of his life.
Yeah, something like that. But she never interacted with family. There was never, like, any indication as to, like, what landed her where she is. Like, it was very confusing.
I mean, this movie could have been better, I feel, if it was just an all-male cast. Like, she was added in for no real reason.
She was added in to have a love story, and we'll get into that, because there's a whole, reason behind it, which, I don't necessarily agree with. But anyway, is there other characters that you care to talk about?
Well, so the director...
Robert Rawson.
Rawson,
there we go.
Robert Rawson. This is a little bit biographical for him, because he grew up as a pool hustler himself.
Yes, he did.
Back in the day.
He even tried to write his own play.
He did. And then the person that wrote this story, which was Walter Tevis, he read that and was like, well, this guy did it way better than I did, so I'm going to stop. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like painting something that you're proud of and then seeing the Mona Lisa and going, oh, I suck.
Which, I mean, in fairness, they both could have existed.
Yeah.
I mean, one was a play, one was a movie. They could have simultaneously existed, but...
So, no, I just like the fact that he was tied to pool in his younger days as a hustler, and it kind of fits into the overall... He probably knew exactly how he wanted to shoot those scenes, and it was... All of those scenes were fantastically shot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All the pool shots and pool scenes were spectacular.
Which most of them were done by the actors themselves, and then when they weren't, they were done by an actual pool pro. So that's pretty cool. So
the only other people that get an honorable mention from the cast are the extras that were hired to break Paul Newman's thumbs were actual street thugs as extras.
Yes, that's true. I like that. I enjoy that.
That ties back to our episode on Goodfellas, because they hired mobsters for that movie. They hired street thugs for this movie. So go listen to that podcast.
To find out about the thing you just told them about.
And other things. We talk about a lot of other things on that. And it's a great movie. So, yeah. We're getting off topic. So where do we go from here?
Okay. So anyway, this is one of our first, if not our first, I believe it's our first, but maybe we do one other, black and white film.
Yes.
So, first of all, Stork, I want to address you. You knew that I liked Paul Newman for his blue eyes, and you picked a black and white film when there were options of color. So I wanted to just address the fact that I see you. I see your budding romance with Tyler, and I see that you guys are just trying to, edge me out. So, maybe one day...
Make good neighbors. We're trying to mend fences.
No, I think they're trying to edge me out, and maybe one day they will succeed. So that's all I'm saying. So, thank you for that. But don't worry, because I could still see his beautiful eyes in this movie. It's still shown through.
Also, I sent you the promo poster, which is in color.
Well, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that you saw my plight and you took it upon yourself to try to combat that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You are a bigger man.
Well, probably literally as well as metaphorically.
I'm not going to comment on that.
All right. So, yeah, I think it's a black and white. I don't think it hurt this movie at all. It was...
So I was going to ask you that, because you don't generally like older films, at least from what we've seen.
That's not entirely true. So the things that I have a problem with older films are the such poorly done by today's standards effects, where
You mean because they didn't have them?
Well, because they didn't have them. Yeah, I understand that it was done out of not having a better option, but I very much enjoy black and white movies where that is not necessary, like 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
Which is just a fantastic movie. So...
Okay. I mean, the only thing I don't like when it comes to older films is when it's cheesy, over-the-top acting that's really just terrible.
It's a Wonderful Life. First black and white movie. So this is our second.
You're right. That was a black and white movie. But yeah, so I mean, it's usually cheesy stuff that I don't enjoy. And if anyone ever calls Paul Newman a cheesy actor, like, get off my lawn, because no, he's incredible, like, to even today's standards.
Exactly. So this movie, because there was just real settings and there was just actors and all of that, it carries very well. I hate the cardboard box robots, and it's just not my thing. No, thank you.
Yeah. So basically you don't like 80s is what it sounds like.
I don't like anything that just looks so bad that it looks like I could make it in my garage. I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay, so you know what to do, Twitter. You got it. Okay. So you wanted to know if this qualifies as a sports movie.
Yes, I did. I saw quite a few people have it as their favorite sports movie, or it's in the top 5 or top 10.
So let's start by saying why you think it's not a sports movie.
There's no real physical activity. You're shooting pool, which does take skill and practice, but there's no real activity. There's no athleticism being displayed.
So there's no athleticism in the whole eye-hand coordination, with both you and I lack?
Oh, no, I don't have the hand-eye coordination for this. I would have to practice night and day for years to have any kind of proficiency.
So the definition of sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So physical exertion, you're hitting the cue and you're pushing the ball across.
Okay.
Skill, you can't
definitely
deny
skill,
that.
Definitely skill.
And an individual or team competes against another.
Okay.
And for entertainment.
I mean, I guess
other people were standing around watching. It's also a movie.
I mean, I guess that counts, but now they're making things like video game sports with the esports channels and stuff.
That's not a sport.
That's exactly my point.
No. That is, by definition, it's definitely a viable business. It's a viable thing to do.
That's entertainment. It's not
a
sport.
It's on the realm of being a YouTuber, being a social media star. Like, that's what that is.
Well, then, so professional wrestling is not a sport. It's a...
Are you kidding me? Wrestling is a sport.
It's entertainment.
No, wrestling is a sport.
It's all scripted and it's not... There's no actual competing.
No, but that's not the
physical.
Point. It's very physical. It's like gymnastics.
Requires skill. I will grant you, but it's not. It's scripted, so you already know who's going to win and lose. So...
Nah, I don't know about that. If you're saying professional wrestling...
Well, yeah, professional wrestling, not actual wrestling.
I don't know. I would think. I mean, yes, it's scripted. Absolutely. Like, there's no way it's not. But it is very athletic. Like,
it's very athletic, very physical. Yeah, I understand that. But it's not a sport because it's not a competition. Because you have a winner and a loser before it starts.
I don't know. I mean, this is more of a sport than that, for sure.
Well, so it's the opposite end. So this is less activity, a lot of activity, but they don't really quite mesh up with sport. Okay,
so to you guys, do you think this qualifies as a sports movie? Let us know why, because I guess we're not going to come to a consensus on that.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that. I guess technically, but it doesn't feel like a sport. I also don't really think that golf is a sport because you just walk around.
I think Tiger Woods would have something to say about that.
I bet that he would.
Yeah, and he also has deep pockets to prove you wrong. So, fine. But, I mean, have you played pool in your life?
I have.
A lot? A little?
Not often. I mean, I had that mini childhood pool table that my parents got me for my...
I mean, that could be why you think no physical exertion is required.
I mean, I've also played at bars and I've gone out and I used to live next to a pool hall in Providence.
And you were a frequent?
I went there occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm just wondering.
Did you ever play pool when growing up? Get off my back.
Of course I did. We owned a pool table as well as a mini pool table, so
What happened to it? It got sold. It got pawned off.
My parents sold it because it wasn't used well enough and because somebody needed to move into that room. So get off my lawn.
So we both have played pool. So
yes,
there.
Now I will admit I'm horrible at it, so I can't really say much. It is physical exertion for somebody short like me because I literally have to climb on the table. So that is physical. Let me just tell you.
That's the other part of it. I don't have to do any of that. It's
point and shoot.
Yeah.
And how's that hand-eye coordination?
Oh, terrible.
So skills at a 10 out of 10, or
I'm thinking I could get better with practice. Huh. We need a pool table.
Oh yeah, let's fit it into our 2x2 house.
Let's pull the Paul Newman.
Yes.
And remove our dining room table and just put it there. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean that works for me. Absolutely.
I'm sold.
I'm down.
I mean,
during
our house,
quarantine, it would be perfect.
Admittedly, our house is like that episode of Seinfeld with the pool table with the walls a foot and a half away from the edge of the table, so you can't...
mean, that's fine for me, because I have to climb on the table to hit any ball anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't need, floor space on the table.
Floor space for the stick.
You just put it up in the air, at a 90-degree angle.
That's not how it works.
No? Okay.
No.
Anyway, I think we've gotten way off track, so...
Probably.
All right, let's get into, the meat of this movie, eh?
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing I always talk about, because I'm a female and, I can't help it, is the Bechdel test. How do you think this movie did?
Oh, it fails miserably.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think that?
Because there's at no point women talking to other women.
Well, that could be because there's only one woman in the film.
Exactly.
That might be
it cannot even qualify for the Bechdel test.
Yes. I will also say that on top of it failing the Bechdel test, as much as I love Paul Newman, the one woman who was in this film was treated horrendously.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the last movie we discussed Boondock Saints. We had a woman getting punched in the face, and we were talking about how she kind of instigated the problem and all of that, okay?
Yeah.
And, we kind of defended the action while saying it was still wrong, right? In this movie, Paul Newman, God, I love him, but he slapped this girl across the face for talking. And that
After
was
trying to get her drunk and home.
Yeah, well, that was a different scene. But regardless, it was very uncomfortable for me. It was very loud. Obviously, they did the sound effect over everything. Obviously, it didn't really hit her, but it was very loud. It was very visceral. It was just very, wow. None of that needed to happen. It was very uncomfortable for me. And, that was, one of the main things I didn't like. But, she was a drunk. She was not a likable character at all. She was talked down to by literally everyone that interacted with her.
Paul Newman lived off of her for weeks or months at a time during the mid part of this movie. He didn't actually contribute anything. She bought all the groceries. She had the apartment. Mm-hmm. You're just like the deadbeat boyfriend living on your couch.
Right. And then when the slimy guy at the end came into play, he didn't like her because he felt that she was trying to kind of pull Paul Newman away from making him money.
Yep.
And so he was treating her like crap and ended up making out with her at one point, which was so disgusting and horrible. And then we'll get into the ending scene, which is questionable.
Treated her like a hooker with cash on the bed and...
Yeah, the other definition of a hustler, basically. Yeah. So it was just a lot. I love Paul Newman, but his character in this movie was the opposite of anything I would ever recommend watching ever. And just the way they treated her, I don't think it was a product of the time. I don't think they treated women this badly. I think it was part of the culture of what they were trying to represent of these types that are
degenerate gamblers and
right.
People that have no actual stable job and are basically con men and hustlers.
Right. But it was definitely very uncomfortable part of the movie, and I kind of wish that they didn't have a love story in this for that reason, because really it wasn't needed.
No, I feel it would have been a stronger movie without that wasted time. They could have devoted more time to building his character and having an actual character arc rather than being the same person at the end of the movie.
Right. Now, I will say that there is somebody spoke to the director, and he had stated that he felt that women may not understand the rules of pool, and that was also suggested to him by, I believe it was 20th Century Fox or
yes,
somebody else.
The people that were funding the movie said, please cut out this stuff because it's going to be confusing for women.
Right. Now, he did keep in a lot of scenes, and he did kind of like try to avoid that, but he also did mention that because he felt that way, he did want to add in a love story to try to entice those viewers that may not be as drawn to the game of pool, which I think that's underestimating your audience. We're not stupid. We can understand pool. You know, we don't need this love story that doesn't even make sense and doesn't fit into anything, but whatever. So I just want to make sure we talked about that because that's part of the movie I don't like.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's also the character arc of Paul Newman.
Did he have a character arc? Not really. He was just kind of the same person. I mean, he became less of an alcoholic and a drunk at the end of the movie, but...
So, accomplishment?
I mean, progress. Yeah, I mean, you're going the right direction, but it's not really a character arc. You change one facet of your life, which you should have changed in the first place anyway. But
yeah, well, Roger Ebert said this is one of the few American movies in which the hero wins by surrendering, by accepting reality instead of his dreams. So, I mean, do you think, because, I mean, when I watched the movie, I didn't necessarily feel that Paul Newman accepted reality. I felt like he was depressed, he was sad, he was hurt by what happened, but I felt like he was more acting out rather than accepting reality.
I think that's fair. Also, his dream was to be the most accomplished pool player in the country, which he beat Minnesota Fats, and he got his dream. He got the whole start of the movie. That's what he came there to do.
Right. He accomplished his goal. He didn't sacrifice his goal.
No. So I disagree with that on its face.
Right. So I mean, it's tough because when you watch this film, you do kind of root for Paul Newman, even though he's a horrible person. So why we root for him, I'm really not sure. Maybe it's because Paul Newman? I don't know.
It's because he's Paul Newman and he can get away with it. Any other person is going to get massacred for this.
Right. I mean, that's fair. But you do root for him the whole time, and then he comes through. So it's... I don't know, the whole woman side of it, and even though that is the most devastating part of the movie, it's almost like it's a separate plot entirely. Like, it doesn't connect to the pool playing part, you know? Like, you don't feel differently about him winning in pool because of that. But, anyway.
I mean, while we've been talking about Paul Newman and his lack of character arc, and really only accomplishing stopping drinking, there was a lot of drinking in this movie for every character. The woman, Paul Newman's character.
Yeah, the woman was literally drunk in the morning. Like, it was confusing. He got her drunk to then take her home, which is...
At like 8 in the morning.
Problem all in of itself.
Right. Everyone was drinking across the board. It was just drinking and drinking and drinking. The one character that didn't drink was Bart. He drank milk because he didn't want to lose at poker.
Well, right. You keep your wits about you so you don't lose, and that makes sense.
And I totally forgot... Bert, the actor, was in 12 Angry Men.
Oh, wow.
That ties to one of my other favorite black and white movies. So, there.
I guess we're going to have to do that movie on the podcast at some point. But anyway, so yeah, alcoholism did play a big part. And I mean, I was going to ask you, because you're the history person, if that was something that was, you know, a product of the time, or because I don't drink,
I think historically that there was heavier drinking than we're accustomed to now, where in the nuclear family back in the day... The guy goes to the office, comes home after a long day of work, and the woman has done all the chores and vacuuming and all that, and she hands him a martini or some kind of drink right as he walks through the door.
Oh, sweetie. No, honey, baby, boo-boo, that ain't never going to happen.
I'm not expecting a martini from you.
I mean, if I do hand you one, be worried.
I'm not drinking it, or I'm going to have you taste it first.
I don't drink.
Doesn't matter. If you hand me one, you're trying to kill me, is the bottom line there.
That's facts. That's actually facts. If I make you a martini, a beer, okay, they're not opened, you know, whatever. If I hand you a martini...
Even a beer, it might be pickle juice.
That's actually true. That's, you know, you got me there.
But martini, no, you're trying to kill me with drain cleaner.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of, what is it? Aqua Tavana.
Yeah.
Aqua Tavana.
But regardless, you're trying to kill me. So yeah, I think part of it is culture. I think also part of it is just the hard partying lifestyle of the degenerate gamblers, but it's not a good look.
Yeah, and it is kind of adorable that right at the beginning of the movie when they walk into the pool hall, there's a sign that says no gambling.
No
I found
gambling.
that adorable.
And then also they start drinking at like noon.
Yeah, I know.
in the first scene of the movie, they're at a regular pool hall on their way to drive somewhere, and they just start drinking and drinking and drinking.
Well, even when they were doing the first round with Minnesota Fats, like the amount he drank in like, what was it, 25, 26 hours, whatever it was.
He drank a pint in a day.
It was like, people would die from alcohol poisoning with the amount that he drank.
I mean, you can let that sort through your system, but it's still not advisable. Like, no,
not great. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so we do need to talk about like the question that everybody has about this film and the darkest part of this film. So if you guys haven't seen the film, this is a major spoiler. So
spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Please abort listening if you have not watched this film and you intend to.
It came out in 1961, so it's on you.
Anyway, so Sarah ends up killing herself at the end of the film. Bert comes into her room. They're in a conjoining room. He kisses her, whispers something to her. It's all very disgusting. It's all very sexual. And then
throws her money.
It throws her money. She says, "Why don't you throw it on the bed? Isn't that how it's done?" Which you thought was a prostitute reference.
It's definitely a hooker reference. It has to be.
Right. And then she goes into his room, and they don't really show what happens. And then they show her in the bathroom. She had clothes on. She no longer has clothes on. She's now in like a dressing gown.
Yeah.
And she writes down the words, perverted,
crippled.
Yeah,
the last
crippled
one.
was the last word, but I think
tortured, maybe?
Something like that. But anyway, she ends up killing herself there. She slit her wrists. And the big question is, did they have sex? Is that why she killed herself? Like, what was the reason that she killed herself? And, like, was Bert to blame? Like,
I think Bert is to blame, but I think it's the straw that broke the camel's back, because she realizes that Paul Newman is never going to love her. He's never going to say those words and be the person that she needs him to be.
Now, do you think Paul Newman really didn't love her, or do you think he just didn't have the capacity to say that?
I think he didn't have a capacity to say that to her face, because at the end of the movie, he's saying, I loved her.
Right, and I think he did love her. I think he was just not in a place in his life where he was able to acknowledge those feelings yet. I didn't think it was okay. I'm not saying it's okay. But I'm just saying I do think he did love her in the way that he was able to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If only she had waited a few more years, he probably would have come around and been able to say it.
Yeah, you just wait a few more years. If you have a daughter, you're going to be like, oh, honey, sweetie, just wait a few more years. He'll come around.
Yeah, wait a few years until I'm dead. So I don't have to worry about things.
Yeah, no. That's no. But, I mean, she was treated horribly. But if he did rape her, which is the speculation, that's worse.
That is definitely worse. And also a very good, valid reason for what she did. I'm not saying that you should ever kill yourself, but I'm saying that at least explains far more than just consensual sex or consensual paid sex.
No matter if you think they had sex or not, it could not have been consensual. She did not want to have sex with him. He forced her, whether it was by persuasion or whether it was by physical force. Yeah. So it's horrible. It was awful. It was a surprising part of the film. I didn't really expect it to go there. Like, it was kind of like all about pool, all about that. And then all of a sudden there's a dead body. Like, I was just like, oh, hey, that's okay.
That whole sequence felt way out of place.
Yeah, it really did. And as I said, it felt very separate from the rest of the movie. Yeah. It was just, they didn't feel like they connected, and that was a little bit disorienting for me. But anyway, so, I mean, that's really what I have on the movie. I don't know if there's other things you wanted to bring up, like little pieces of this, or, I mean, did you want to just jump into your History Minute?
Tyler's History Minute.
I think straight to the History Minute, I guess. First is Minnesota Fats was a real person that was denied to be the person by the author. Mm-hmm. His name was Rudolph Wanderone Jr. So he was originally known as New York Fats or Chicago Fats, but he was Pool Huslter.
Was he fat? Because Minnesota Fats was not fat. So
no, he was very fat. Which is where he got the name. And he has a bunch of promotional stuff based off him changing his name to Minnesota Fats and getting publicity and fame from this movie.
So who was he, though?
He was just a pool player. I mean, I think he was a professional pool player for a period of time. But he started off in like the pool halls, hustling for cash. And
this wasn't based on him?
No, it was not based on him.
Huh. Interesting.
He also, from the pictures that I saw, wasn't all that cool, calm, and collected in a suit with a carnation. So I can kind of understand the author's point if he says no.
No, the author said nobody was based on.
Right.
Like, he didn't base it on anyone, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other person is William Moscone. He was the technical advisor for the film. He's also a outrageously talented pool player. Mm-hmm. He was inducted into the Pool Billiards Hall of Fame as the 7th person ever in the Hall of Fame. He also holds the record for the continuous 14-1 pool shot of 526 consecutive shots.
Jeez.
Which is insane. And he also was the only other person other than the actors, Jackie Gleason and Paul Newman, to shoot pool in this movie on camera, which was the trick shot where he shoots ball in, has the ball go around the other one and come back somehow, which is insane, but
he did it.
He did it.
Now, he's also 14-time world champion, right?
Yes.
From 1941 to 1957.
Yes, he's a 14. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he also had a cameo in this film.
He did. He was the guy holding the money.
Yes. I just wanted to help you out. Make sure you got all those pieces in there.
Thank you. And by all accounts, the game that they play, the 14-1 continuous pool, was changed to 9-ball pool for competition. And all professional athletes now, the professional pool players, say that it is a much harder game than 9-ball pool.
Oh, what we didn't even mention was the fact that there is a difference between pool and billiards.
There is. So pool,
which we didn't know, and we looked it up while watching the movie.
So billiards is no pockets or no holes on the side of the table, and the object is to hit 2 balls at the same time, whereas pool is the pocket pool.
Yes. So at one point in the movie, one of the guys tricks Paul Newman into playing billiards by getting him down and agreeing to play a game, and then reveals the table as a billiards table. And we're like, wait, what? That's the difference?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was something I learned from this movie. I thought billiards was pool because it's always like a billiards room that you go to.
I mean, the only other game that is similar that I can think of is snooker, which is far more popular in England. So they talk about it all the time on What I Lied.
Is that what the bars are called? Like the snookers, like in Providence?
Snookers, yeah.
Oh my god, I always thought that was a strip club. Like,
no, it's a pool hall. It's just a different type of pool. It's got objects on the table. I don't really know how to play because I haven't ever played snooker. But
I feel bad. I denied a date way back in the day because I was invited to snookers and I was very offended because I thought it was a strip club.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
my wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Learning new things every day.
All right, so that's my history minute.
Yeah, so I did want to mention before we move into Audience Ask that there is a sequel of sorts to this movie.
There is.
So the Contrarians let me know about this on Twitter, and then we both watched the trailer.
The Color of Money, yep. Paul Newman, Tom Cruise, totally down.
Yeah, it looks really good. Now, Tom Cruise is a little,
a little crazy. He is off the damn reservation.
But he is a very good actor.
He's a very talented actor, but off the reservation personally.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I'm totally down for watching that movie. I was actually looking to see if there were other pool movies, which there are, but none of them look great. But this one actually looks really good.
I'm totally excited for that movie. So, I saw the trailer, and it's going to get added to the list.
So it's on the list?
Yeah, officially.
It's okay. I think it's also based on a book because that sounds like a book I've seen in a store before.
Well, it's probably the same guy, the same author, wrote a sequel to The Huslter.
It could be. Yeah. So, of course, we don't know that. We haven't looked up that movie at all. We know this movie was written as a book first and then made into a movie. We don't know about that, so don't crucify us. We don't know. Anyway, so do you want to go into Audience Ask?
Audience Asks.
Sure. Let's go to Audience Asks. What do we got?
So we have to do Stork's Audience Ask because he recommended. Yes, he recommended it, and I cannot just be like, we picked your movie, but you're crap out of luck. We're not doing that. So Stork said, What would your Pool Hustler nicknames be?
I don't know. Short Stick Shay?
What? First of all, I didn't know we were doing each other's, but okay. And wow.
Well, you're short. You've admitted that you have to climb up on the table to play. Or Stepladder Shay? But, I don't know.
What do you want to be? Graybeard Tyler?
Okay, thank you. I don't know how that has anything to do with playing pool.
I don't know. I don't know what to call you because, I got nothing.
I don't know. Thank you for that.
I got nothing. I've got nothing. Tap, tap. I don't know.
I don't know what my nickname would be.
Yeah. So, Stork, I guess this is my allowance to you to make up nicknames for us. I'm going to regret this. I'm going to hate everything about it. But we don't have any because, we don't play pool enough to really...
No, I don't think we've ever played pool together either. So...
No, but I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down for losing miserably, but I'm down.
After the quarantine is over.
Yes, unless somehow we can find a way to get a pool table into our home. Maybe we can make a makeshift pool table.
No, we're not doing that.
By our dining room table. I bet you there's a YouTube tutorial on how to DIY this.
No, we're not doing that.
What? You can make little pockets out of paper or something, just tape them on and then... No. What? You only need 4 corners. You got 4 corners on a table. I think we can make it work.
The side pockets as well, darling.
Yeah, so you just put them on the side, and then all we need is balls. So we have marbles everywhere.
Oh God, this is my life. Okay.
Anyways, so we tried to do this previously, but we failed. But Shaken Not Nerd said, describe Hustler without using the letter E.
Pool film about a... what did we say?
I don't remember what we said. That's why I figured I could use it and you wouldn't.
Pool film about a con man. There. Done.
Yeah, so I would have said
we said something else originally. We'd written this. We didn't write this down, which
we should have. In retrospect, that would have been a good idea. But yeah, a film about a con man playing pool.
Against his rival?
Yes, got it. Woo! All right, we did it. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, so that's that. Those are the audience asked questions. They were very simple this week, which I'm happy for because sometimes you ask some questions that are a little bit, what I'm saying. But I guess we're sticking with the sports movie theme. Yeah. Because you picked next week's movies. You want to let them know what it is. We have to do
reviews. How dare you?
Oh, you're right. I didn't write that down. It's not on my list here.
Reviews.
This is what we get for you not participating in the list making.
So, Rotten Tomatoes, the critic rating is 98.
Oh, wow.
Audience score, 93.
Okay, so it's well loved.
Across the board, fan favorite. So I was going to give it a 9. Because it is a solid movie. I'm taking points off because there was the unnecessary love scene. They treated women horribly. It just... That could have been removed, and I felt like that would have streamlined the movie, and I would have felt more invested in his development if he had more character building personally for Paul Newman.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
So, yeah, that's 9.
All right. I was going to give it an 8. The only reason I'm giving it that low is, 1, the way they treat women, obviously, and obviously what you said about the storyline that wasn't really necessary. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the clip that it went at. I really enjoyed, kind of getting invested in the characters, but I felt like I didn't have enough to really get invested in the characters. I didn't get any kind of real backstory. I didn't really get a character development or arc in really much at all. So as much as I loved it and I thought it was really well done and I thought Paul Newman is incredible. The acting was incredible.
The tense shots of the pool table and the games was well done.
Right. It was all really well done, but I just wanted a little bit more. So
it also has us jonesing to play pool.
I'm down.
You read about. It's We are ready to break out of our house and go somewhere.
Yeah, let's break quarantine for pool.
Yeah, basically.
I'm in. Yeah, no, if I had it at my parents' house, like, I could strongly consider breaking quarantine for that. But we don't have it anymore, and a bar is obviously closed. Yeah. So, unable to break quarantine for this. But I might buy a mini one for, just to tide me over. But anyway, so, yes, I said 8, you said 9. I'm actually really happy that we both enjoyed it because it's an older film and I always kind of get discouraged with myself that I don't seem to have a palate for those older films that are classics. But
well, I mean,
I think Paul Newman does it for us.
Yeah. Well, I think it's classic is defined as everyone loves classics depending on the subject matter.
I think Twitter would disagree that you're one of those everyone's.
All right. So next week's movie. Is a sports movie.
And you've picked it.
I have picked it. It's Glory Road, which is a basketball movie,
I don't think we've done a basketball movie.
I don't think we have either.
There is a new basketball movie coming out that I am so here for, but...
Isn't that the one with...
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck?
Yes,
yeah.
I'm down. I'm in. I've already been sold.
Yeah. So, I'm excited for this. It's similar to Remember the Titans with the racial overtones and the segregation and all of that. And it's just a heartwarming story. It's a true story as well.
I love heartwarming, so I'm in.
True story. Like, it's actually happened in real life. So
I'm down. I'm in. You've sold me.
So yeah, I'm excited for that movie. It's going to come out next week, and we'll have nothing else to do on quarantine. So
hopefully
should be on time.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are staying inside. And I hope that at least podcasts and YouTube videos and other things that people are putting out is giving you something to do because I can tell from my experience I'm going crazy over here.
Oh, it's miserable. She's bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, keep staying healthy, guys. But if you want to talk to us outside of the podcast, I am on Twitter at CinematicallyC. Tyler's on Twitter, blame Tyler CC. And again, please tag me if you want to talk to him.
I better not be on Tinder right now.
I know, right? I'd kill you. But please tag me if you're trying to talk to him because he doesn't ever check, and I do try to scroll and look for people tagging him, but I am not as good at doing that if I don't have it in my notifications, so please do that. You can email us, cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. We do have a website, but it has not been updated recently.
Why are you looking at me?
And just making
You're the one that put together the website.
Where's the timestamps?
I'll get them.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that is cinematicallycorrectpodcast.com. There are some timestamps up there, obviously. It's just a little bit behind, and, you can blame who you want to blame. And, so we have Facebook, Cinematically Correct, but we're never there. We have Instagram, never there. And we have TikTok that I'm sharing sometimes on Twitter. So you don't even have to follow me. You can just follow my Twitter and see some...
Be subjected to your TikToks?
Yeah, if you want to see weird stuff that we decide to do,
All right. Well, thank you to Jake Adathis Music for our intro and outro music, and thank you all for listening.